What's going on, Cats fans? It's Ben Reeve here. It is the 25th of June. It's another edition of The Hoop Show, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Paul James. Is the power still on, Paul?
For now.
For now.
We'll see what happens. It's been a strange old day with power outages and crazy weather around here, but we're getting by. And as always, I'm here after a win.
Yes, you have to be here after a win. Hopefully, we'll continue this. It's not a winning streak yet, but
mate, I mean, I'm on holidays now, so I should be here for the next few weeks. No
there you go.
Which means 2 more wins. We've got the Swans this week, and
Swans. Yep.
I can't remember after that.
Yeah, we'll come to the Swans because we will have to talk about that small margin of victory they had on the weekend against the West Coast Tigers. We will touch on that, but this is as you all know, this is a Geelong show, and this is a very, very one-eyed Geelong show, and we are here on a Sunday night, as we always are. Well, most Sunday nights anyway, to talk about the Catters. And the Catters, as Paul mentioned, did have a nice win on, I won't say the weekend, on Thursday night. Goodness me, that was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
But we got the job done. It was a courageous, hard-fought. It filled me with pride. We got the job done against Melbourne by 15 points at home. And wasn't it glorious, Paul?
I mean, I was disappointed I couldn't make it. Dad's back in the country. He's like, any chance you want to come along? I'm like, I can't, not with the kids the way they are at the moment. They're having all sorts of sleeping issues, so I can't go leaving that to my wife on her own. But as I'm sitting there and just bouncing around on the couch in excitement during that second half, especially that last quarter, I'm sitting there going, this would have been great.
Would have been, wouldn't it? I couldn't get there. I tried to get a ticket, and that was the only reason I couldn't get there is I just couldn't get myself a ticket. We have promised ourselves, me and my partner Beck, that we will buy seats once the new stand is up, and we will not relinquish those seats.
Yeah, I've got a few reserved. Dad's got them reserved. Like there's a block of about 6 of them for.
There you go.
For us, I just need to be able to get there.
Just need to get there. Did enjoy watching it on the telly though, and a bit like you, up and about, Tom Cruise style on the couch in that last quarter. Tommy Atkins just. We'll cover all of that, but yeah, wasn't it a great fourth quarter? Six goals in the fourth quarter. Wet conditions at the ground though, so hopefully everyone there brought a poncho or a raincoat or whatever. Not nearly 20,000 people turned up, and it was Chris Scott's 300th game. So as Geelong often does in a milestone game, walks away with the 4 points. So very. So
if we can have a milestone again for every week for the rest of the season, so we can. Get ourselves. Look,
exactly.
we've got a bunch of old pricks on the team, so surely there's a chance, right?
Yeah, not as many as last year. I think who's coming up next? I haven't looked at it for a little. We haven't had. We had. Who was it? It's escaped my memory. It'll come back to me. I think in maybe the next 3 or 4 weeks there might be some more milestones on the way. But the big news, Paul. We'll talk. We'll go this off the top. Jezza had a bit of a. Was involved in a bit of an incident and. I was a bit concerned about him, and for the first time in a long time, actually, I stopped worrying about the result of the game. I was very, very concerned about Jez's health and how he was going to cope with that. There was a very long delay and a lot of concerned looks on players' faces from both sides. I don't know, how did you feel when you saw that, and what were your initial reactions?
Well, we were messaging back and forth at the time and trying to work out even just what it was, because certainly, and I mean, it's what was ultimately the case. Certainly, the footage, and they very briefly showed the replay before saying we're not going to show the replay. So good work there, Channel 7.
Yeah.
But my first, like he's taken a shoulder to the head, like this should be a concussion. But then he's been down so long, maybe there's a severe, like my next thought went straight to neck, because again, jaw. If you get a broken jaw, look, it's ugly, but he's moving around. You can walk off, you can run off. You might get a little bit of extra support because obviously every movement your head's gonna bounce, but you can do it. But the fact that he wasn't moving, I thought, oh geez, this could be like a serious neck thing here, because obviously Gary Rowan's moving at speed, his head gets snapped that way, like. I guess it's not out of the realm. So my thought instantly went there. So I was pretty relieved when all the reports started bubbling up saying he's been taken precaution. There's no structural issues. Eventually then becoming concussion. He's just going to have to miss the Sydney game. I'm like, oh, you beaut.
Yeah.
But it was terrifying at the time.
Oh, yeah. It was scary. And I the angle that Rowan came from, I looked at it a couple of times today. I don't think Jezza even had any idea he was crossing his path. he wasn't bracing for it, and so he just got him flush on the jaw, and that was probably my thought too. That is it a broken jaw? Are they looking for about 6 set of teeth in the grass?
There's that. Yeah, there's that
You know,
too.
was it a neck thing? How long was he unconscious for or knocked out for?
Well, so that was the other thing. Like I
yeah.
think we've mentioned it on the show in the past. Like I had, and there was a bit of flashes of the Joel. Now it was a totally different circumstance when Farron Ray got him back in 2010. I think it was.
That's an old name, Farron Ray.
Yeah, but like it was round one. Do you remember the incident?
Yeah.
Right near the boundary, and he got collected straight front on, and just he had that locked arm, sort of rocking back thing where he just was completely out straight away.
Yeah.
And he was down forever. And I thought, like, I know a little bit about when you're unconscious and like there's a certain amount of time when suddenly it starts becoming really dangerous for the brain. And he didn't move, and I thought, holy crap, this is one of those.
Well, that's the thing. Every 10 seconds that goes by, you worry more and more. And we were just sitting back on the couch. Sorry, covering my mouth. It's not great with the microphone. And I don't want to knock the cable out. But yeah, we were just like holding our breath. We didn't know what was going on. And I was just thinking of his family and teammates and thinking, if it's bad for us, and we don't even know the guy. I've never spoken to him in my life, but imagine how the family would have been coping, and everyone that knows him. So yeah, I'm glad he's okay.
On Gary's face as well, he was it really took an effort from the team. Like even when the rest of the team had huddled, he was still standing off to the side near Jeremy for a while. It took quite a while for. All credit to Tom Stewart and what the boys did eventually. Like it's almost like, okay, we'll convene, and they didn't realise that he'd actually wandered off or not made it over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Before they finally grabbed him, like you could see the genuine concern. And I mean, look. You'd hope that would be the case, of course, but you needed a teammate to kind of rip him out of there and stop beating himself up. And obviously played a pretty fantastic game afterwards.
Yes, well, yeah. So look, Jezza went to hospital. I think they released him early hours in the morning, and then in true Jezza style, he's doing a bonfire the next day and showing off his new wheels and.
The cows sucking on the car itself
and all that sort of stuff. But look, let's talk a little bit about Gary Rowan, because that was a game of football from Gary Rowan. I think maybe there's a case to Stewart or Tanner Brewer maybe got the BOG, but I think a lot of people. Definitely on the Twitter poll that we ran had Gary Rowan as best on ground, and it was one of his best games for the club, hands down. I mean, maybe the quarterfinal pips it a little bit from last year, but that was
in terms of importance, I would say the quarterfinal.
And what he just went through, and
in terms of the game itself, I feel like it was probably the best game he's played for Geelong. Again, just the occasion is what makes the quarterfinal more important at the end of the day. So, all credit to him. It was an amazing game.
Yeah,
set up quite a few. Was there whenever we needed him. Yes, sure, he took out a best player, and that's what might hurt him a little bit in the votes.
Yeah,
but in terms of his football output, I'd argue his best game.
Yeah, he and considering what happened with Jezza and all of that, and I was actually sitting there maybe before the game or the day before the game when the news was out that he was in negotiations for a contract extension. I'm thinking, really? I thought this might be your last year, and I was actually surprised. And then I saw him play, and I'm like, goodness me, have another 5 years. Give him another 5 years. He was fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
If he keeps that speed, he'll always be worth a spot, I reckon.
Yeah, and look, probably the highlight of the whole round. And this is a Geelong. If I didn't say off the top, people, this is a very one-eyed Geelong show. But the highlight for the round for me was Gary Rowan running onto the ball, beating Stephen May to the ball inside 50, and then just doing his little sort of finger pump or whatever it was, kicking the goal.
I was concerned about the little inside out little banana that he went for there.
Yeah.
To put it through the sticks, but as soon as the fist went up, okay, cool, good.
We got the job. I was a little bit concerned about Grind. We we love Grind Myers, but when Grind tried to dribble it through with a little banana or whatever it was, that was a bit of a. We love you, Grind. We do love you, but didn't love you.
Just tried to bite off a little bit too much. I don't think it was on track.
It was.
But he seemed to forget that there was a number of defenders there that could quite easily cut a ball like that off.
Yeah, and that is my biggest grievance that I have in football in 2023. When players still to this day try and dribble it through, and every team does this. There's always a guy on the goal line trying to prevent that from happening, or getting over the back. So just kick it middle post high. Just and you see it every week anyway. But that happens. Look, I I don't know how I'd go running after 2 hours of running around on a football field trying to think straight in a highly contested game against the third team on the ladder. So I think we'll forgive
And you're
him.
fighting for your spot.
Fighting for your spot in the 8.
Yeah,
so it's easier from watching it on the couch like Tom Cruise. So yeah. So look, yeah. So I thought Gazza played great. I mentioned Tanner Bruin. I thought he probably played his best game for the club. And Paul, guess what we saw from Tanner Bruin on the weekend? Not only 2 goals and a bunch of clearance.
Smile. We got a smile.
We saw the pearly whites.
He did a great job in his little media spot afterwards. The Channel 7 or Foxtel that I was watching. He did a fantastic
Put the camera
job.
on me. Come on. I'm ready to go.
Him and Ollie.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
I loved it. So I was very, very happy for him. It probably was the first time for me that he looked like he really felt like a Geelong player and was really leading the boys. And in the absence of your Paddy Dangerfields and a few others, it was great to see him really stand up. And Tom Atkins, I can't do this show without talking about our boy Tom Atkins and Brad Close. Let's talk about them together. I'll let you go because I'll take a breath.
No, I mean they both played amazing games. I'd also toss in there, and you mentioned Tanner, but also the new trio of players that came in. So Bose and Ollie Henry both played really great games as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was really showing that kind of the selections they made, the moves they made with the trade during the trade period last year is paying off. Jack Bose really, really important now. Obviously came into the game a lot sooner than he'd expected, but came in and performed really, really well. I really can't think of too many contests that he lost in the midfield. Not saying he was playing the inside aggressive physical role, but he was kind of inside out a little bit and just he was clean consistently. It was great.
It's beautiful.
And then obviously Ollie Henry took a few great marks as well. Kicked an important one kind of floated around the pack and then took an important one.
He's clutch in fourth quarters.
Last quarter.
He doesn't miss in fourth quarters.
He's a big moment player. So he's doing all the right things. I'm really happy with all 3 of those guys. And yeah, obviously you can add Brad Close in there with 24 disposals, and you can add Tommy Atkins with again, great output himself.
Have we ever seen Brad Close, our boy, the show's number 1,
lead the disposal count?
Have we ever seen him lead the disposal count? It's crazy. And I don't know. There's a bunch of other cats. There probably was maybe a couple of cats that had subpar games, but I on the whole, I think 21 players were just fantastic on the night.
Yeah.
And
Look, I can't really think of any. I mean, I guess sorry, we can probably say Jeremy Cameron since he didn't really get to do anything.
Jez is clearly one of them, and I think there was one more. I can't remember, but anyway, we had a win, so let's enjoy the win and not worry about.
Also, just highlight the importance of Reece Stanley being back.
Oh yeah,
and how that unlocked Blitzarves.
Did you see Reece's face? And he was getting ready for that first bounce. He was blowing smoke out those nostrils. Did you see?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. He's missed all this time. The circumstances kept him out even longer than he would have liked. And then he comes back to have to deal with Gawn and Grundy. I'd be breathing fire, ready to go as well.
He was ready to go. He was all strapped in. He was ready to send some smoke their way. But he played it well. First game back, I didn't expect heaps from him. Didn't expect a lot from Bose, but I thought he played well. I think if we can get 10 or 12 games straight into Bose, I think we'll see some amazing things from him. I think it'll be fantastic. Just like we're seeing with Tanner now. He's had quite a bit of a run, and Ollie as well starting to find their way. So it was a fantastic effort. And I think I've got to also mention Max Holmes. We know how good Max Holmes is, but he was fantastic in the absence of Paddy Dangerfield, one of those leaders in the midfield there that really kept driving the ball forward and getting the hard thing. And we know that his role last year was mostly on the wing, so he's just adjusting to that more of an inside role this year. So he was fantastic. Mitch Duncan, doing the eye test on the night, I didn't think he was great. I mean, he kicked the goal late, which was really important. But just looking,
it wasn't big on. I guess this goes back to your dribbling, but the fact that he let the ball do the work, bouncing over the line there, it wasn't. He did. Yeah.
So he was great.
Pop it through, Mitch. You're the best kick on the team.
And I love a tackle, and the fact that he had 8 tackles was great. Do you remember the game he had 17 tackles? I think it was against the Western Bulldogs at home one time, and the week before, Geelong was criticised for just not tackling, and then we came out and broke all kinds of records with tackles, and he had 17 tackles, and it was just nuts. It was fantastic. Look, in terms of the Demons though, it was pretty much their usual players. Petrarca was really good. I thought we couldn't lay a tackle on Viney at one point. He was just he was incredible, Angus Brayshaw was he's always a good role player. So I thought those three.
They got a lot of it, but I don't feel like they were overly effective at the same time.
No, I wouldn't have thought.
Striker in particular, actually.
Yeah. And I thought Atkins did a pretty good job. I think he went on a few different negating roles on different Melbourne players at different times throughout the match. So
yeah, Atkins and Blitzarves kind of floated, rotated a little bit between Viney and Petrarca a bit. So
yeah, and Blitzarves' mark. We have to talk about the mark that Blitzarves took as well. There was just so many things in that fourth quarter that just was fantastic. I can't remember them all now, but that mark he took and the goal, he went back and banged it through. That was fantastic. If you just go off the stat sheet, mate, we were getting smashed in so many different areas. We got, I'm just reading a couple out here. We got smashed in hit-outs, which you probably expect. Stoppage clearances, we were negative.
But only 16 hit-outs, considering it was 1v2.
Yeah. So negative 14 in stoppage clearances and a negative 11 in contested possession. So there's a few of those key.
Those two showed the back line is starting to, and no surprise that Sam De Koning really had his best game of the season. Good. Things are starting to click up that end of the ground, and when Geelong's at their best, the back line is repelling.
Yes.
And so, okay, look, the midfield is not where it needs to be at the moment. We know that's still a work in progress, and hopefully it all comes together before the end of the year. Obviously, we're hoping and expecting that Danger will be back this week, but hopefully other pieces come online. It seems like they're talking about him coming back, but we'll see. They said that if the game was Sunday, Monday, that he might have actually played rather than Thursday. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens there. But ultimately, you're going to have, especially in this 6-6-6 era, you're going to have the at least the occasional centre clearance that comes flying in, and it's down to the defence to be able to repel that. And they were doing a great job of that.
Oh, they were terrific. They were terrific. I can't remember what Melbourne
really
scored.
Really important that when we're being smashed in the clearances like that we're still ultimately not conceding anything.
No, they were great. Can we talk about? We got to talk about Big Baby Guthrie's banana goal as well.
Yeah.
We can't not. This isn't a Geelong show if we don't talk about Big Baby Guthrie and some highlights from him. He was great too. I mean, we can talk about all the players, really.
Yeah, they all. It was very much the team effort.
Oh, it was great. There was just so many individual highlights and gut running plays and tackles. Gary Rowan, we talked about his big moments, but a couple of the tackles he did running from 50 metres away, and Brad Close falling over at one point, and then a second effort to get up and chase down. I can't remember was it Spargo or something like that, maybe?
Really important tackle there in the middle. It's what set up the Gary Rowan goal. So.
Yeah, so just everyone, if you haven't seen the game, put the fourth quarter on loop. Just watch it over and over and over on your Monday morning, just to get yourself in the headspace for work and all that sort of stuff. We'll get through some ticks and crosses in a second, Paul, but any other takeaways from you from the game that you wanted to touch on?
No, not especially. I wanted to make sure I shouted out that Reece Stanley one on top of everything else. Because I'm big on Reece. I know there's a lot of detractors and has been for many years. The guy's obviously a premiership ruckman now, so hopefully he silenced a lot of that. But he really showed how important he was because he's mobile, unlike Segler, and he's fit, which unlocks Blitzarves. It was just super, super important to have him back.
Before we get to the ticks and crosses, I will ask you a question. Who comes in for Jezza, do you think? Do we see Shannon Neal, maybe? Or do we just go with the Blitzarves sending...
Shannon Neal hasn't spent a long time back from injury, has he?
Not really, no. It was his first game back, I think, in the VFL on the weekend.
So,
I think it's a bit of a rush for me. I wouldn't do it, but...
Do they go and perhaps reward Phoenix Foster?
Oh, wouldn't that be good?
He's been doing a really great job in the forward
line.
I'd be stoked to see him get a game.
It feels a bit late in the season for a debut.
But Shannon Neal's basically the same level of experience when it comes to the actual AFL level, so I'm not too fussed about that. Sure, it's a take two of the grand final replay.
I think it'll be, I don't know, Shannon, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be an interesting decision. Will they just shuffle the deck, shuffle the cards a little bit, and if Dangerfield comes back, do they have him as a mid forward instead of Jezza?
Well, we know that'll terrify Dane Rampy and what's his name, Callum Mills. That'll put the fear of God through those two who. Danger has touched up multiple times over the journey, but you could. I mean, you can even tweak the ruck line mix a little bit. And I know I've just sung Reece's praise in terms of the importance of him coming back.
Yep.
But maybe Blitzarves does a little bit more ruck time, which allows Reece to spend a bit more time forward as a result and be that second tall option as well.
Do you mess with a certain Fijian's head and put Sava Radagalia back forward again? Do you put him in the forward line again after he's had so much exposure in the back line?
I think he's still out for his hammy. So I don't
Oh,
think
is he still out? Is he? Oh,
Yeah,
geez, I thought it was just a mild awareness thing, but
no, it seems to have lingered a little bit longer. But
the Geelong injury.
Not that we'll ever know, because the whole short-term, medium-term, long-term language that is starting to upset a few people in various different circles. And I agree with their reason. I don't like what the club's doing in that respect.
No, it's probably one shot that we can have at the club. Let's talk about some ticks and crosses, though, Paul. Now, a couple of ticks here. I've just picked out a few. So Ethan Casal says SDK's most complete game of the year. I think you said that too, Paul. So I think we all agree with that. Kyrie Savaridis, I think I've got that right. It says resilience in the fourth quarter. That was amazing in the fourth quarter. I thought we were just terrific. Jan says the entire team deserves a tick. I think we've sort of touched on that as well. Jezza let himself down a little bit by not playing for more than 10 minutes. Just kidding. And Nick says the roaring home crowd. Now, as we know, you and I weren't there, but I could hear it through the microphone. The crowd seemed, maybe not in the first quarter, but goodness me, the crowd gets up for Melbourne games.
It's an interesting one because you could really hear the Melbourne supporters too, especially when Van Rooyen got his hands on the ball. You hear the roo through the thing, and like, that's awfully loud. But I guess like the Geelong supporters are probably doing their thing, and the D supporters, they've probably got the exact same number of tickets they've always got. But when you take out a huge chunk of stand, I guess that balances that ratio out a little bit more and makes those voices stick out a little bit more than usual. They may not get drowned out by the Geelong fans as easily, simply because there's a third to a quarter less of them.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes it like, I guess I'm hoping like Nick's putting it there because he's got that perspective of someone who's perhaps there on the night.
Yeah. I think
I'd love to hear that because it didn't totally come across that way to me through the TV.
Last time I think we played
outside of the last quarter.
Yeah. Last time we played them too, it was really loud at home, and it's great. It's great that we get to play Melbourne. We get fixtured to play Melbourne at the GMHBA at Kardinia Park. It always seems to be a cracker game. I mean, 2021. I didn't like that one too much when we lost top spot in the ladder after the siren. But anyway, cost us something. But
very much the relationship between these two teams outside of the prelim in 2021 is very similar to Geelong and Hawthorn at the moment. It's very similar to West Coast and Sydney. Like, they're tight all the time.
But there's good sportsmanship too, which I really noticed throughout the game. A lot of players patting each other on the back from opposing sides and helping each other off the ground. I like to see it. I mean, maybe not everyone likes that, kick them when they're down sort of stuff. But I reckon it's okay in this day and age to.
You can still beat the stuffing out of someone without having to.
Exactly. Next contest, knock the stuffing out of them. But if you go down and bowl it up and whatever, it's a game. It's a game. It's not we're not at war. So. All right, and a couple of crosses. So Lucas says Zach Tui's goal kicking accuracy. Yeah, I have to say, I don't know. I'm not confident.
I'm sick of the way Zach is twirling that ball around as he goes in. Any wonder he misses.
The Moroccan shuffle as he's running into kick.
Not so much the shuffle, but it's the way he's twirling the ball, and it's not like I'm okay with a bit of ball twirling, but it's not vertical. It's not end over end. It's all sorts of angles, and then eventually the ball settles in his hands before he goes to kick, but not long before. Mate, it's got to be settled.
Yeah, he doesn't look confident. It's the eye test for me with just looking at him. Like, he doesn't look like he wants to take it anymore. And he's probably lost a couple of meters. I mean, apart from when he's torping it out from the goal square, but a drop punt, he's probably lost a couple of yards there over the years. Now, Clay says Duncan 5 intercept kicks in a row. Yeah, look, Duncan can be super boot at times and pinpoint targets inside 50, but he can be a bit wasteful as well.
It's the risk and reward thing of being that pinpoint.
Yeah,
it's a high risk kick.
Yep,
can sometimes blow up in your face. So
it can win you
5 in a row is not great though.
Not great. I didn't notice 5 in a row, but I was getting a little frustrated at times with Mitch. Now Rowan Healy says he didn't like the Rowan versus Cameron rumble in the jungle situation. No, I don't think anyone liked the fact that.
Did you see Kane
first round knockout?
Hesitated to suggest that he should get suspended for that.
I did say that.
I get that.
Are these Richmond supporters or something? Probably.
If that was a Melbourne player, then that Melbourne player would have been suspended.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But you can't
Let's go
Gary
back.
Rowan owes him a slab.
Every incident. Exactly. It's the slab penalty. You owe him a slab of Northern, or I think that's what he likes, Great Northern.
Yeah.
Or a keg for his outdoor shed, whatever it is.
Something to hem the cows in next time he gives him the medal.
Exactly. Last cross. Darren Gilmore says stage 5 grandstand delay. Now, how good would it? It's great to see it come together, I must say.
You see a couple of seats in there added each time.
It's looking better and better every week, but I'm not happy I can't get a ticket to the game. And I've got a few kids I want to take along, and I can maybe get a ticket for myself, but that's not how I roll. I like to take the family with me. I like to watch it with them, and if I can't watch it with them at the game, then we're probably going to watch it on the tally. So more likely I'm going to get to games in Melbourne these days than I am at my own home ground. So bring on 2024, or hopefully it's ready to go for the AFLW season. I can watch
true.
the female team run out with 40,000. Wouldn't that be great? Any other crosses from you that you can think of, or it's pretty hard to find some crosses?
It was very much the team effort, so we're picking the teeth out of things to find a few good.
I think we are. Are you ready for some votes?
Yeah,
I've got mine ready to go. I don't think we wrote them down, but I've wrote mine down anyway.
I've made an annotation there next to it. So
very nice.
We only differ on one.
Okay, so we both. Let's go from reverse. We both. I gave Tom Atkins 1 vote.
And I guess where we differ is that I threw mine to Sam de Koning,
which is fair.
Didn't lose a contest all night.
Yep. I didn't give any votes to Tom Stewart, neither did you, which people might not be happy about, because I did hear some people saying Tom Stewart was best on ground. I gave 2 votes to Gary Rowan. Interesting to see that you didn't have best on ground as well. And I gave the 3 votes to Tanner Bruin. So, we both saw the game the same way, so that was interesting.
He needed to step up in the midfield, and he did.
Yeah, so,
I thought Gary would have gotten the 3 had he not tried to kill a teammate. So.
Gary Rowan won the game for us. He won the game for us, but I think over 4 quarters, Tanner Bruin was fantastic. So I don't think you can. There's not really much in it, really. If you're scoring them out of 10, one got 8, one was 8.5, one was 9. I don't know. There's really nothing in it. Congrats to them. And as I said, the Twitter poll had Gary Rowan winning it, so he's on the roll of honour for this week. I think first time this year. I think he might have got on it once, maybe twice last year. Definitely in the qualifying final.
Maybe the final, yeah.
Yeah, he got on it for that one.
Got that for sure.
So I was happy one of them was going to... I always love a new face on the Roll of Honour. I'm always pulling for a new face to get on there.
Like when baby Zach popped up.
I loved it when Big Baby got on there. That was good. All right, quick look ahead before the power goes out for Paul there. Quick look ahead. Next week we've got...
strong at the moment.
We've got Sydney now, and we will go around the ground a little bit and talk about some of the results, but we do have Sydney who... put up a reasonably large score of 200 and change against the hapless... Still coached by West Coast Eagles, still coached by Adam Simpson, but who knows for how much longer. 171 points or something like that. So.
Yeah, they were starting to get close to some of those top margins that our thing against Melbourne was 186, if I recall.
Yeah,
so
that was right.
Starting to push that boundary, and I thought, no, they don't like this.
The big one I was worried about was the Cats versus Brisbane Bears, 230.
The greatest score ever,
or something like that. Yeah. The greatest. I thought that was actually happening at one stage at the end of the third quarter. I'm like, well, this is gone the way they're travelling. But thankfully, they just eased up a little bit. But it is one of those, when you play West Coast, you've got to go for the kill.
Instead of a 10-goal term.
Yeah, you've got to have a percentage booster. You can't, every other team's trying to get around you in the 8. He's trying to get a percentage boost against West Coast. And if you go easy on them, well, you've just sacrificed 5 or 10% or something like that. So
I hope it's something. Do we deal with West Coast again?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I think maybe we have Freo again. I don't think it's West Coast. I'll try and double check while we're going. But
we've got North, which is something.
Yeah, we've got North coming up in 2 weeks. So I did check that before. So,
but mostly it's a whole bunch of good teams. So we can't get too excited. It'd be nice if we played West Coast while you're doing the research. Yeah, so I think we're playing Friday night at the SCG, where umpires like to screw Geelong in the dying stages of fourth quarters. So I'm thinking of the Jeremy Cameron mark and so forth. And Buddy Franklin decides to kick 4 goals against us. I think a year or 2 ago. That was great. Last year I think it was. So that was great.
Thousands last year.
So something's got to go right for us, surely, because we can't be losing games to other teams around us in the 8, and especially Sydney.
Out of the 8.
And Sydney played a waffle team on the weekend, so waffle B grade team really. So they'll get a rude shock when they come up against us. And we smashed them by 90 odd, didn't we? Earlier in the year.
Yeah, it was 80 something. Yeah.
Yeah. So. You'd think we would get the job done against the Swans. I'd be surprised.
93 points.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised. It's a bit early at this stage. It's Sunday night, and we're not playing for a few more days. But I'm picking the Cats by about 35 points in this one. I'm feeling confident.
Feels like a pretty reasonable margin.
Yeah, I think 5 or 6 goals sounds about right to me. All right, so just going quickly around the grounds before we close it out. Brisbane got the job done against St Kilda. Not much of a game to watch. I don't know. You'd always felt that was. I mean, St Kilda would be bitterly disappointed.
Ross is going back to boring football again.
You just think, oh, come on, Saints. It's a game you got to win if you're serious, but not to be. So Brisbane, did what they needed to do, and I think they're in the top 4 again, aren't they, from memory? So or thereabouts.
Yep,
so,
they're still there.
Looking good. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully, but they'll be hoping to get a top 2 finish. I don't think it's possible. I think Port and Collingwood are just racing away from the rest of the comp at this stage. We talked about Sydney West Coast. Freo defeated Essendon, broke their winning streak, so I'm a little bit more nervous about them making finals now, but I think Essendon still make it. Freo must be feeling a little bit better after they're putting in a horrible performance the week before. But they got the job done by 32 points over in the West, which is very hard to win.
The game of the round, Collingwood and Adelaide.
Wasn't that a good game?
Oh.
Who are you pulling for in that one? Out of interest, I was
was going for Collingwood because Adelaide is the team that we're trying to I'd done the maths. They only needed to kick another goal or two, and
That's right.
And we'd be sitting in the 8 right now. So
there's about 0.9% difference between us. I was for the same reason. I was going for Collingwood to win, just for the latter position. But then I couldn't help but just want Collingwood to lose.
There's that.
When it was getting real, I was like, oh no, actually, I want Adelaide to win. I don't care about. It's still plenty of time in the season to go. Just smash him.
Tex just keeps marching on.
Oh, isn't he leading the Coleman or something now?
Hot.
Yeah, I think he might be. I think I heard on the radio that he might.
He is. He's on 43
front
now. Yeah.
Jezza, I think we'll strike a line through Jezza for the Coleman. Are you happy to write him? I know he was your pick, even as
you can't rule him out.
Yeah,
but
well,
at the same
I don't know.
Time,
concussions.
Goalless week this week. Going to be out for concussion next week.
Maybe another week after that. You don't know.
Yeah.
And then who knows how
that bonfire was going strong. You can do that fine, so it'd be right to go.
Tommy Hawkins wins another.
He's come back and fill his boots against North the week after.
He could do. He did that. He's done that once before against North. But Tommy Hawkins must be feeling pretty good about potentially being Geelong leading goal kicker again. Another year. Was that 11 or 12 straight? Yeah.
Hawks on 35, so he's got
a
little bit of time up his sleeve to level it up and then go from there.
Yeah. So Hawk will have a big game. Hopefully they're not too Hawk focused on the weekend because that won't work for us. We need everyone to do the job. And the last game of the round, Suns defeated Hawthorn by 67 points, which you'll be happy with because I think you're hoping the Suns do reasonably well this year. I think you might have had them.
I've still got them kind of just missing the 8, but
just
kind of sitting in
the 8.
where we are now. So
they're what are they equal on points with us or just a game behind?
They're exactly they're level on points, but they're about 14% behind because they've been pasted a few times. So
it's interesting times ahead for the Suns because I don't think we've seen them, well, not for a long time anyway, being this close to a potential finals berth. So hopefully they make it, not at our expense, but it'd be nice if we got to see them finally make probably elimination final. Really, it'd be good if we could see that happen. Yeah. Look, mate, I think that's pretty much it for us. I think unless there's any other big news, sling tackles are still a big thing, but we could talk about that for another hour. But it seems to be every week another sling tackle's happening or two. But it is what it is. I don't think there's any other major injuries coming out of the Cats on the weekend, so that's good.
No, finally a pretty, in terms of the traditional injury, pretty clean bill of health. We just got to wait it out for Jez.
That's all right. And hopefully he's going to be okay. After this round, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It was a pretty nasty one, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has a bit more time off than just your minimum amount. And most important thing is his health. So we want him ready to go for finals. It's just going to be a bit of a different look for us with one key tall forward. We'll see if that breaks down.
That'll just be like going back to 2020.
We'll just have to rely on our mids and smalls. And Stengel's
played a grand final with only Tom Hawkins.
Yeah, well, Stengel's starting to look a lot better in recent weeks. So
Gary Rowan's kicked 6 in 2 weeks.
Gary Rowan, Ollie Henry's feeling good. Tanner Bruins, getting possessions and kicking goals. That's great. And Paddy Dangerfield will wind back the clock and kick 5 goals. I'm sure he will.
Yeah. And traumatise those Swan defenders again.
With 1.5 lungs. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, that'll do for us, I think. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the Hoop Show. Thank you, Brad. It's getting winter, and we do want to see Brad get his long sleeve. So every single subscriber will help us get there. Paul, I believe, have we got anyone lined up for the Behind the Play this week? We did have, I don't think I plugged it, but we did have Daz from Daz Talks Footy on Tuesday's episode of Behind the Play. So if you haven't already checked that one out, I might just leave the link in the show notes there as well.
No, we've had scheduling and cancellations and all sorts of issues in recent weeks, so we're not actually kind of lined up for Tuesday at the moment, but we might try and pull it together and upload it as fast as possible. For people,
we might. I think we've got a guest lined up to record on Tuesday. Whether we get it up on Tuesday night, that's another thing. So it might depend on how. Probably
I can definitely do it.
So. We can maybe queue that up for Wednesday or Thursday if there. But it's a pretty good guest. It's a good guest. So I don't like saying these things until we actually hit the record button, but don't like dropping names. But I think that'll be a good episode there. All right. Well, thanks, Paul. Cats had another win.
No
we love it. We're 7-7. We're currently sitting 9th on the ladder. We'll see how we go. I'm still feeling like we're going to... We did talk about it a few weeks ago. We needed to split these last two games, and we got, or at least minimum split them. So we got there, and now we're hopefully coming into a few easier games before the real stuff happens in the last little stretch.
Yeah, we get the tails up and then crush a few of those top teams in the last few weeks.
Yeah, and then we'll see how we go. Hopefully we'll get a home final, finish 5th or 6th.
6 wins to go.
But most important thing at the moment is making the top 8. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you, Paul. And as always, stay Geelong strong and go Cats. See you on the next one, everyone.